Hi, and welcome to the Unknown Secrets of SEO podcast.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another fun-filled edition of the Unknown Secrets of SEO podcast.
My name is Chris Burris, owner of eWebStyle.
And this is Paul Hansen, sales manager of eWebStyle.
I'm going to put the mic over closer to you because... I got to turn that off. All right. Having a few technical difficulties this morning.
Good Friday. Happy Good Friday to everyone out there.
So what we like to do in our podcast, as you frequent listeners know, is we like to cover what we covered last time. And last time we covered a whole bunch of things. It was a whole gamut of stuff.
So many that I couldn't tell you what it was.
I glanced at we keep a tech sheet for the last podcast, which was podcast 53. And nothing's sticking out. I remember we were all over the place, and it was actually a really high energy podcast.
Google sponsored links.
Google sponsored links. So we did discuss that. We're going to discuss that a little bit more today. Actually, we're going to discuss was it an hour, maybe 45-minute phone call with Google that I had yesterday?
Oh, yeah.
So we'll be discussing that. That'll be pretty interesting. So you are, remember, although it's a little dysfunctional this morning, you are listening to the most popular SEO podcast on iTunes. That is because of you. You are potentially actually watching the most popular SEO podcast on iTunes, which would kind of make it a video cast. And we do broadcast the video of this live when we record the podcast. That is on Fridays at 9:15 Central Standard Time. This is Good Friday, and it is actually a Good Friday. So the only reason we are the most popular SEO podcast on iTunes, I don't know how many more times I can say that quickly and articulately, is because you guys are listening. We really appreciate you. We really appreciate and enjoy giving back to the SEO community. And you guys can actually give back to us, and more than just viewership, you can actually stalk us
on Facebook, Twitter,
Ustream, YouTube. So Paul's a little bit under the weather here in Houston. I don't know if you guys have ever been in Houston or in this type of time of the year. There's a yellow sheen on pretty much everything. So we're going to say that Paul has allergies to this to the pollen that is. They say if you've never had allergies before and you move to Houston, if you're ever going to get them, you're going to get them here in Houston. So.
Well, I definitely did.
Like a Mack truck. So you can follow us on Twitter, eWebStyle. Actually, you go to twitter.com/eWebStyle. There is no dash in that. Or you can find us on Facebook. The easiest way to find us on Facebook is to go to e-webstyle.com/Facebook. That will forward you to our Facebook page. We still don't remember what to call it. Is it a group? Is it a business? Is it whatever kind of page it is? But we do know there you become a fan. It's a fan, right? I said it confidently.
You're changing it to like.
Okay, you can like us.
The become a fan link. I just read this like yesterday.
Oh, it's gonna be like
to like.
Like I like this. So you can get on Facebook and eventually tell everyone you like us. In order to catch the video cast, again, live Fridays at 9:15 Central Standard Time, all you need to do is go to e-webstyle.com/ustream. And we also do cut up these videos, put them on YouTube, and you can find the easiest way to find that page, again, is ewebstyle.com/YouTube. I'm trying to rush through this because we've got a lot of good information. I think that's it on that. How about a little news?
Google, China.
Well,
I'm getting sick of it.
Well, and we can still talk. We have mentioned this before, but the iPad is supposed to be coming out this weekend.
Oh, it's not out yet?
Yeah, no.
As much as they talked about this sucker, I figured it was out.
Yeah, no, it's coming out this weekend. And one of the points that we were talking about this yesterday, one of the points you made, which was pretty interesting, like, why do you think the iPad isn't going to make it?
Keyboard.
The keyboard. Well,
or lack thereof.
Here, I looked up news today, and here was interesting statistic number one. I don't know. I just made it number one. Touchscreen phones have the edge. So touchscreen phones ranked 40% higher than phones with a keyboard.
I I definitely agree with that.
Oh, okay. You've got a touchscreen phone.
I selected that phone just because it had a touchscreen.
So maybe that'll translate into the iPod.
Yeah, but
Pod.
I don't need a phone like this.
Yeah. He's holding up a magazine. I don't need a phone this big.
This phone, the phone is just that big. That's just too much.
Yeah, that is true. I did read an interesting article. It was saying that you could replace some features, and when you're getting really down to work, it's probably good for kids.
It's gonna be phenomenal for kids because I actually read that they're gonna market it to schools a lot. They're really, which is why I don't know if anyone else ever saw this, which is why Apple started to do away with its adult natured apps. Because they're going to market the iPad.
Are you referring to the baby shaker?
Forgot about that. Like 2 or 3 weeks ago, they started just doing away with all the adult related apps because they're saying we're going to market this to schools. We want this to be the item that's
educational
in school.
Item. Wow.
So they started to clean out all they started to clean out the app store.
Well, so in that case, whether an iPod will replace a laptop or not is irrelevant because it's going into a place where they don't exist. That's pretty cool. That's pretty smart. Other pieces of news, I got 2 quick things about Microsoft. I'm really kind of bored with news today. Microsoft Office for free. Yes, when you get your laptop, you'll have a stripped-down version of Word and Excel. Part of the reason it's stripped down is item number 2. Microsoft was re-suing a Toronto company, sued them because they didn't want to include XML features that the Toronto company created in Excel. So that's why it's stripped down, because they lost their lawsuit. Actually, no, it's stripped down because that's stripped down. And I got to read this quote. So I'm looking through, you're always looking through other web designers in Houston or whatever, and there's one web designer who literally said, "We ain't going to lie. You can probably find a trained monkey who will build a website for cheaper than we can." And all I've got to say is, if you're hiring a trained monkey, your budget should probably be increased a little bit. And we'll just leave it at that. Oh, and I do want to give a shout out. We're going to exceed Gino time limit here. I want to give a shout out to whoever is listening to us in Lisbon, Portugal. Hello out there. If I spoke Portuguese, I would try. I
can say this: obrigado to everybody that listens.
Obrigado. All right, awesome.
It's the only word I know in Portuguese.
It's our multilingual one-word show.
So thank you very much. That's it. It's the only word I know in Portuguese.
That is good. Since we're kind of giving shout-outs right now, let's talk to. This is a great question. Again, we love your questions. This came in. Look, it's addressed directly to podcast@e-webstyle.com. It came in. We love it when you send us messages. We will give you link love. In this case, we've got, it's from Andrew Martineau, and he starts off, and this is another accolade. I got to read this. I want to start off, this is Andrew, not me. I want to start, bless you. I want to start off, he didn't say bless you, that was me, just to be clear. I want to start off by saying that your podcast is not only extremely informative pertaining to search engine marketing, but also very comical and attention-grabbing. I look forward to listening to every podcast for the knowledge and insight that you two give each week, for free, I might add. So, wow, Andrew, thank you very much. That is a great testimonial, and he goes on to ask for a job. I'm just kidding. He says he just got his BBA, bachelor in business administration, and he didn't study SEO, SEM in depth, but he was very interested in it. And his question is to us is, if we have any advice on how to break into the SEO market, what he's finding is that employees that have he's applied to seem to care more about actual experience than a high GPA and genuine passion for the growing industry. And we talked about this kind of briefly, and Paul, what's our thought on that?
Who cares what you went to school for?
Basically. Wow, you're like Simon Cowell today. Your degree isn't
Pretty
anything.
much. I mean, pretty much. So it's like in this industry, it's what like I think you said it best yesterday is what can you do
For me today.
Today.
Like
what can you get done? How quickly can you get it done?
So Andrew, we're not trying to squash your desire. I think a high GPA is a good sign of some things. I think that a genuine passion for this industry is obviously great, and if you've got that passion, eventually you're going to break into it and it doesn't matter. What I would probably recommend that you start doing is you make a blog of some kind, and start actually making sure that in the more competitive the subject matter of the blog, the better, and make sure it's on the first page. So if you go to somebody and say, look, not only do I have a good GPA, so I know how to learn quickly and do stuff, I've got a passion for this industry. My passion is so deep that I started this blog. And maybe the blog is a subject that ultimately you don't really want to keep doing. You just want to have this blog out there and then optimize it and get it on the first page. And you can say, this is what I'm doing, right? Because I recognize that, SEO isn't about book learning per se. A lot of the thing that we talk about, I think a lot of the value that we bring to the SEO community is kind of how do we think about things. Mm-hmm. It's not like, okay, now your keyword is this, insert keyword in title 3 times and insert keyword in first sentence once, and there is nothing specifically systematic about it. It's a lot of processes, and there's a lot of thought processes. In fact, one of the things we're going to talk today about is keywords, and keywords has everything to do with logic and very little to do with systemization, and we'll see that here in a second. So take it up another level and do something on your own, and what that'll do is give you give you a leg up when you're in and interviewing. What you can do is you can talk about this is what I'm doing. I'm so passionate about this, because you can say you're passionate, and you probably are. You're listening to this podcast, but if you've got something tangible and say, look, this is what I'm doing, this is what I've been working on, just give me a chance, because what I've done for this I can certainly do for your company. And if somebody knocked on our door and said that, and that's real experience that you can create on your own, and given the timeline with Google, you can do that in 2 months. Now, I know you're probably looking for a job maybe a little bit before 2 months, but if you end up accepting a job that's not really your passion, first off, that's a nightmare. I understand you may need to do that for money, but advice, just do it for money, and understand that what you're gonna do is create and do some SEO and bring some tangible evidence of your passion for the industry to whomever you're speaking to. We would love to talk to people who have actually stepped out on a limb on their own, because that's a huge sign, I think.
Here's a piece of advice: listen to a podcast. I'm not gonna say which podcast.
Some podcast.
Some
somewhere,
podcast.
Yeah.
And learn as much as you can about search engine optimization and impress people with your knowledge. I do all the time. Not really, but I'm going to say that.
You actually impress people around the world with your knowledge. So that's what do you do? Whatever you do, don't start a podcast.
Yeah, seriously though. At least not about search engine optimization.
And it better not be more entertaining than ours if you do, okay? And less informative. Both of those I would support 100%. All right, so let's talk about the conversation that I had with Google. It's going to be a little bit of a discussion into frustration. It's going to be a discussion into the fact that the salesperson, at one point I try not to do this in these situations, because I remember my dad is an Air Force colonel, so it's pretty high ranking in the military. And I remember every now and then in these situations, it was so embarrassing. He would pull out, I'm a full bird colonel in the Air Force at the grocery store trying to get trying to get better service. And I'm like, really? Like, this guy doesn't care that he doesn't give a crap.
That's pretty awesome, man.
You did it more than once.
Flip that out there, like, hey.
And so I try, I'm on the phone with him, and I'm trying to explain some things to him because he doesn't understand, and I'm trying not to, like, pull rank or whatever. At one point I said, look, the reason that I'm trying to explain this to you, I understand this industry. I am one of the hosts of the most popular SEO podcast on iTunes. This is what I do for a living. And so here goes. as we mentioned, last podcast maybe, or 4 podcasts ago probably, because it was before we interviewed Ken. So 4 podcasts ago, which would be podcast 50, I think. In podcast 50, we talked about Google sponsored local ads. And Google sponsored local ads is where you can pay $25 and they'll put like a little yellow post-it next to your Google local listings. So that we're all on the same page, if you go to Google, just google.com, not Google Maps, not Google Images, not Google anything else, go to Google and type in lawyer, Houston, you'll see a section, and it's usually between 5 and 10 businesses that are in the Houston area. In this case, they're lawyers, because you typed lawyer. In that, you'll be able to see a couple, and apparently this program they're only doing in San Jose and Houston. Interesting collection of cities. And you'll see this little kind of yellow post-it and then a faint highlighted sponsored ads, and it's supposed to make it pop out more, and then you click it. And I told you 4 podcasts ago that he said our click-through rate for one of our businesses that is listed at this address is patrickwanas.com, quit smoking and lose weight. And he said that, you're only getting a 5% click-through rate. And, well, we understand that a 5% click-through rate is actually not that bad. Certainly in advertising, you look at pay-per-click, and they're desperate to get 1%. And so it was actually pretty good. And he wants me to spend money on it. I'm not going to spend it on that one because, if somebody is looking for weight loss hypnosis Houston, they're probably looking for a hypnotist in Houston. Patrick is in Miami, and he sells CDs. So the conversion from somebody who's looking for a hypnotist to help them lose weight in Houston over to a CD, which is a tough sale, or over to a phone consultation, because Patrick can do a phone consultation, is also a tough sale. So I wouldn't spend any more money. If anything lands on our lap, we'll do that. Then I started talking to him about eWeb Style. He goes, you have another business. You got all excited. Yeah, how many more do you have? Maybe I can get lots of commission today. And so right then and there, I Googled internet marketing. And in your case, if you're not in Houston, you'll type in internet marketing Houston. And there's no local listings, none at all. So it's just organic results, no local listings. And you do that for any of the keywords that would be relevant to our Google local listing. No local listings at all. And so I'm trying to explain to him that, and I literally said this, you could sell me dancing naked women on my ad.
Sold.
But that was easy. You don't get to answer phone calls when they're trying to sell us stuff. You can sell dancing naked women on my ad, sold. And if my ad doesn't show up, you have sold me no value. I'm just throwing money. Well, it's effectively like I've experienced a dancing naked woman. I've just thrown money away for no reason at all. And so I'm trying to explain this to me. Literally, this took between 30 and 45 minutes. And one of the things that I was hoping he would say is, well, the reason there's no local listing is blah, 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 which I don't exactly know why there isn't a local listing. Why is there a local listing for lawyers and not for internet marketing or online marketing? People are just as apt, even though it's internet-based, to want to actually, shake hands and have a face-to-face conversation with their internet marketing guy as with their lawyer, So I don't know why there isn't a local listing. In fact, we were discussing there used to be.
I mean, at least for search engine, for SEO Houston, I swear there used to be.
Yeah, so for SEO Houston there was, and now it's gone. I don't know, maybe the allergies took it away. Who knows? And that's actually scary too. If they're going to take away your Google local listings for your subject matter every now and then you're paying $25. Again, you have the dancing naked ladies in the corner and no one can see them, and it's pretty bizarre. What I was hoping he would say is, once you buy the sponsored ad, then we'll guarantee that Google Local will show up, and then you'll be in that list, and you'll have your little post-it looking thing. Well, I found one of our competitors in the city of Houston who is already paying the $25. I found it on Google Mobile Maps. I mean, no, just Google Maps. So clearly it's not the case. They've already got a sponsored ad. They're not going to get on the front page. So this was a very long conversation. Well, it was pretty interesting, and kind of one interesting note. you can look up in your local business center, you can look up the number of impressions that your business local ad has had and the actions. And in our case, we had 64 impressions and 32 actions. That's exactly 50%. I was impressed with 5. Imagine what I'm thinking with 50. Well,
that's actually pretty dang good.
Yeah. Wow. Well, what I'm actually thinking is they were looking for us specifically. So they went to Google Maps and they typed eWeb style, or they typed eWeb, or most popular SEO podcast in Houston. So they knew about us already, and they were trying to find us. And when they found us, of course, they clicked us. So that's not rocket science. That's, and what's the value? I don't need to highlight my ad for somebody who's looking for me in particular. So I'm going to do that needless to say thing. Needless to say, and I'll say it, we're not going to be participating in the Google Local Sponsored Ad. It's only $25, and, I think we could figure some other better, maybe Dancing Naked Chicks, we could throw away $25.
I probably wouldn't spend $25 on that, though.
Probably not.
I think it's actually, the sponsored ads, I think there is some value in it. Specifically what? I think there is some value in it. I can't say specifically what off the top of my head I find valuable in that, but I do think that standing out on the first page is going to be a good idea. At some point, maybe not today, right now, but I think there is some value in it. I just don't think that the way that Google is approaching it is the best way to do it right now. I think it will be valuable at some point, just maybe not right now.
Yeah, and part of the value is we always kind of recognized in the yellow pages that, a slightly different ad, however it was different, was, had some advantage because it would stand out. And so having that little post-it and that little yellow highlight is going to stand out. Now, when all 5 or 10 of them do it, because it's only $25, eventually, what? I want to cancel my $25 because then I'm going to stand out. So you got people adding, and there's no contracts, unlike the yellow pages. So you can actually, month to month, you can turn it on and turn it off. And you may play with that. The point that the guy on the phone made is, look, your conversion rate now. You could actually just pay $25 and see the conversion rate. So my needless to say may be wrong, because it might just be an interesting experiment that we'll do just for you guys. And in fact, we probably will do that. So we can say,
if anyone else is listening, let us know, and as actually taking advantage of it, let us know how it worked out for you, or if you're in Houston or
San Jose. Yeah. Let us know. You can send us an email at podcast@e-webstyle.com. I almost forgot. I got a little shout out. Hopefully he's watching. A shout out to David Welling. I met him last night at a concert. I went to a One World concert. I think that was the name of it. It was just amazing. They actually had an Eastern European dance couple. They had flamenco dance. They had belly dancers. And it's a world group. And there was one scene. It's just amazing. I'll be brief. The guy playing guitar is an incredibly talented guitarist, and he's playing with an Indian guy on the tabla, which is the small little drums where you sit Indian style, and he looked kind of like a Pakistani Buddha playing these things, and they only move their fingers and make these loud noises, and it's rhythmic, nice noises, not just noises. Loud music. I don't know.
Noise.
It's just noise. The concert was amazing, and David was sitting next to me. I started talking to him, so he's actually a graphic designer, so hopefully he's listening in. David, if you are, great. And also, hopefully he'll come and see my show tomorrow night. I'm actually performing improv here in Houston tomorrow night. The next subject that we have, we'll have to blow through this one. So this example is 2 things. One, how we work here at eWebStyle, because this is a great story of how we do it, and 2, the value of keywords and the value of having a company that knows what they're doing, helping you in your SEO. So here it is. I'm talking to it's actually a friend of mine who owns a window treatment business, shades and blinds and everything. And he came over and we're talking about his website, what he needs to do with his website, and we're talking from the perspective, if you're going to do SEO, here are the things that we need to do. About halfway through the meeting, Paul walks in, unprompted. So this is amazing teamwork that we have here at eWebStyle, and hands me this page. And this page really changed the whole meeting that I had with him. So I probably didn't thank you enough for that. That's awesome. And the reason it changed the meeting, I don't know if you had a chance to glance at this or look at this, and you want to talk, or you want me to just...
Go ahead.
Okay. So what was pretty interesting was you can imagine the terms related to Houston.
I'm still trying to remember, like, when was this? Like, when did I do this?
When was that? Let me pat myself on the back and try and remember when it was. It was with, you remember Juan Paredes, right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The window treatments.
So, the keywords that would obviously show up here are going to be blinds, Houston, shades, Houston, window film, Houston, solar screens, Houston. And the number one search volume is Shade Houston. Not Shades Houston, because you actually install shades, but people start by searching for Shade Houston. And I made the point to Juan right away. This is a really kind of interesting analysis. If it were blind Houston, potentially blind Houston is looking for other services, maybe services for the blind or blind organizations in the Houston area. But Shade Houston, unless it's maybe Shade Tree, can you think of any? I can't really even think of anything. They're just lazy people who aren't typing the S and Houston. So that's the number one search volume term. Interestingly enough, because Google, their keyword analysis tool, tells you what the competition level is for it, and it's 0. So no one in Houston is pay-per-clicking or optimizing for Shade Houston. But it's the number one search term. So this changed the conversation with it. It's interesting, right? Why? Well, I can guarantee you somebody's going to be advertising and pay-per-clicking that soon. But it's the number one reason where you really need to know how to use these tools, when to use these tools, and again, this comes back. We talk about, real estate is location, location, location. SEO is keyword, keyword, keyword. And here's a great thing where I'm able to tell a client, and he's actually considering he's hired a consultant to do some business plan for him, and that particular consultant has contacts and can get a website done for him. And I'm saying, you can get a website, but then you still got to come back to us, and we've got to clean up whatever they've done for SEO. You should just start with us and let us, take care of your website, do it properly, and then focus. And one of the things that we're going to do that they would never know to do is have a page or at least content related specifically to Shade Houston. And if you don't do that analysis up front, then you're swimming up a stream with no paddle. No, there's no swimming with the paddle. I don't know. You're doing something wrong, and you should call us. Let's see. Do we have anything else here? I mentioned David. So that's actually our podcast for today. It looks like we're right on time. That's pretty good. So again, you are listening to the most popular SEO podcast on iTunes. I didn't tell you this. On Podomatic, 2 days ago, we were above Mr. SEO.
Really?
Yeah. I didn't see it. So just so you know what we're talking about, our actual podcast, that's the audio portion of this, is actually hosted on a website called Podomatic.com. And you could do us a very small favor by going there, creating an account, and becoming a fan and watching us and following us on that. Mr. SEO is kind of... It's the reason we're doing this podcast. Lots of accolades to him. He did a great job. Mm-hmm. He hasn't posted a podcast in 2.5 years, something like that, for a very long time. Which is part of the reason we say we're the most popular SEO podcast, because we're continually producing podcasts. He no longer is. On Podomatic, because of his history and because he's one of the first podcasts, he was actually ranked above us in terms of popularity. So I know that sounds counter. He hasn't put out one in like 2 years. Yesterday I looked, and he had moved up one and we had moved down one, which means we were in position 1 and he was in position 2. And so we're pretty excited about that.
That's very cool.
That. It's boom, Mr. Bellestrino. He's got a jingle, and it's catchy, and it's annoying.
But good stuff, though. I'll definitely give him his respect. Very good stuff on search engine optimization.
Yeah, so now what we're saying is ours is better, right? There's more. Yeah. We've got a lot more content. We're producing fresh content. He's not talking about Google. None of his podcasts talk about Google local sponsored ads. I can promise you that, because it didn't exist.
It didn't exist. So basically, we're saying we're the bomb.
We're the bomb. Yeah. We are the most popular SEO podcast on iTunes. Please send us an email. Please follow us. Again, the people who go to iTunes, create an account, and submit a review about us. We really appreciate that. If you're getting any information out of us, do whatever you can. Something, spend like 5 minutes or something and give us a shout out somewhere. Post us on a blog. Give a link to us. Just help us out. Help us spread the word. We're internationally known, and we're giving back as much as we can. And hopefully you guys are enjoying it and learning from it. That is the end of podcast number 54. This is the most popular SEO podcast on iTunes. Until the next podcast, my name is Chris Burris.
And this is Paul Hansen.
Bye-bye for now.